Okay guys, Volkswagen Transporter 4Motion. As you can hear by the sound of it, we think the flywheel's seen better days, it's clunking around. So we're gonna drop the gearbox out of it and change the flywheel on it today. First step is to remove your steering column off the bottom of the steering rack here. That'll just lift up over that. Just remove your bolt from here. Just be careful not to turn your steering wheel once you got this off, because it can mess up your steering angle sensor. Okay, then moving underneath on the vehicle. This one being the 4Motion. We've got our transfer box just here. We're gonna have to whip that down out of the way. Come to that bit in a minute. Just kind of go in here where we are at the moment. Want to get your hub nut off. Drop your anti-leak bar off, your shock, track rod end off, and then both your bottom bolts, take them out there, and then this arm will just drop down nice and easy then. Then you want to move your power steering pipes into your steering back, let them drain off. Also, these two exhaust bolts up here, these can be very tight and like to shear off, so get a good bit of penetrating oil on them, possibly a bit of heat. Just give yourself a little bit more time if you don't want to shear them off inside of it. Start taking your sensors off here, circular sensor, your knock sensor. Alright, just drop it down the subframe here. Look up in here. You have 4 of these big bolts in there. One there, one at the back, same the other side. You also want to remove your front engine mount bolts, 2 torque bolts. Obviously, you have this stand here, but if you're doing it on your back or whatever way, just support the subframe so it don't come down on you. Just remove these screws here. This panel will pull back and it makes it a bit easier to get that front quarter through. Subframe down on the ground. Steering rack, everything comes out complete with the subframe. Nice and handy. Anti-roll bar. Just gonna get underneath now. So the engine is just hanging on the front and the rear mounts up here. Gonna whip the transfer box out of it now. Your prop shaft bolts have to come out. 6 of these, and then this will split out of here. It can be very tight in here. You might either have to get a chisel, give it a whack, get some 3/8 around here. It'll be a bit of a pain. The drive shaft's a bit tight. Just put your bar up in here, lever it out. This prop shaft here popped out pretty easily, but you can see the way we've undone it. Next, your supporter bracket for the transfer box. These 4 here have to come out. 1 bolt there, 1 bolt at the top. There's 2 hidden bolts at the back there. 13. Bottom one's a 13. Support bracket is down. Just be a bit careful on these 2 bolts on the inside. They're a bit awkward to get on. 16mm heads on them, but you might need a few ratchet extensions to get past it. It can be a bit awkward. Be a bit careful here. There's a secret bolt inside the drive shaft going into your transfer box. It's a 6mm Allen key. I get a long quarter extension on there, put it down, try and wind her out. I say lads have forgot about this bolt and been out of days with lever bars. It's out, it's a big long thing, 6mm Allen key on the end. I've used a quarter extension. Give it a little tap in because you don't want that rounding off on you. Bolt down, 4 bolts on it, 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom, and then it just pulls off towards you. It's relatively light, you can lift it. Just the gearbox left to remove, and the rear engine mount. We want to start thinking about supporting the bottom of your engine now. Next, drop your starter motor down. This little plug here has to come off. There's a little locking clip in the back. It's a bit of a prick to get off. Once you have the starter motor down, there is a bolt. It's inside the starter motor. Be careful about that one there. This little clip here could be a bit of a pain in the ass to get to. You just kind of need to get a pick and push it back like that. It should release off your starter motor. And then you'll have your live cable on your starter motor. Put a bit of glove or something around it, stop it arcing out there. When you're taking the starter motor out, there's a couple of harness on this one, I think, is attached, and on top there's a little bracket goes on here, plastic cover comes across the top, so you have to drop your 13mm nut off first, then you can get your 18 on the back. Just be a bit careful on that one. Okay then, taking your gear cables off up here, if you push these little clips in just here, this metal clip here, just push it in like that, that will release, it'll pop up off here then. Same with this one back here, there's another clip, just needs to be pushed in. And your gear cables, you could do it one of two ways. You could press this button here, and that will release both the cables off the plastic holder. It's a bit hard to see, that's off there now. That's your gear cables ready to come off your gearbox then. If you drop your rear mount off, let your gearbox down, it'll give you access to the 2 bolts up on top, one over there, just up there. Makes it a lot easier to get them. Got the gearbox strapped to the block of wood, ready to let it down now. Got the flywheel off. See, there's a ton of movement in the thing compared to the new one here. Clutch is down. I think I've already seen 1 or 2 clutches actually fell. 9 times out of 10, it's the flywheel that lets itself down before the clutch does. It just doesn't take as much punishment as a solid flywheel, the dual masses. A bit of side play in this one too as well, you can't really see in the video. I'm gonna get this one bolted, torqued up now. Got the new slave bearing in here, ready to go. Have to reuse this, so just be a bit careful with the clips, you don't lose any of these. I'm just going to tighten up the flywheel bolts now. The 60 plus 90 is the torque on them. All torqued down. Flywheel order goes on one way, bolts are elongated. New bolts are come a little bit of thread lock on the end. So let's get the clutch lined up now and that torque down back on. Pressure plate bolts are torqued down. M6 are 13 Newton meters, M7 are 20 Newton meters. Let's pull this out, it should be nice and lined up. Ready to get the gearbox back in. Just a little trick there, I used 2 bellows bolts to lock the teeth up on the flywheel while I was torquing it down. If you haven't got a holding device, that works pretty good. Gearbox back in, bolted up. Actually one of the easiest gearboxes I've done. It just seems to just fold in once you get it up and lined up straight. Just put it in gear up on the shifter up top there, and then just get a set of grips, just turn that, and it should just drop straight in to the clutch. So it's all bolted back up now. Okay, then just jump back up on top. Both of your gear linkage cables just pop back on. Same with your cables back in there. Sorry, it's a bit of a blur picture. They just push back in. Transfer box lifted back up in, bolted down. Secret bolt is back in, torqued down to 11 Newton meters. Just a bit of advice here before you refit the starter motor. I think you can get better access to the bleed nipple if you bleed the clutch before you fit the starter motor. Otherwise, you have to come in from the top here. You have a lot more space, you can get your pipe on. I would be able to get on the bleed nipple. Just up there. It's a lot more access. I'll show you with the start motor back in, but I think it's easier to bleed the clutch before you fit the starter. It's up to you. Otherwise, you're going to have to do it for the top. See, with the starter back up in place, it makes it hard to access. the bleeding bolt just up in there. There's a lot more room to start out to bleed your clutch, I think. But look, it's up to you which way you want to do it. The dry shafts could be a little bit tricky to line up sometimes. Just get your splines lined up on the end of your dry shaft, and then get it just started on the gearbox. Get it nice and straight like that, and then get a dead blow hammer or soft hammer. Give her a slap and she should just find her way on. They can be a bit tight sometimes and you have to get them nice and straight. If they're at an angle like that or something like that, they can pick up on the spines and cause damage. So get as straight as you can when you get on and give it a good slap, it should go on. Alright then, next, get our subframe back up and in. It's easier to put your dry shafts in without the subframe in. You've got a little bit more space to move this back. Get this out of the way as far as possible. We're blessed here to have a ramp, to be honest. Doing this on your back would be a bit different. It's one of those things that just makes life easier to ramp. But look, you've got to do it when you got to do it. So let's get this back up in. Just be a bit careful when you're refitting your steering column that it goes into the hole. It doesn't get stuck up on the body there. That was in there nice. Alright, steering column reattached. Bolt going through here. Not 100% too sure the torque of this, just get nice and tight. Bled through the clutch there. Clutch pedals feeling pretty good there. Happy with that. Subframe all bolted back up underneath. Rear prop shafts back on. These are 13 Newton meters plus 90 on these. 200 on the bottom ball joint here. 200 on your hub nut, then back it off. 180, then another 200. I'm not 100% too sure, but I think these are around 150 Newton meters. So all that's really left to do now is to drop it back down, put the wheels back on, 200 Newton meters again on the wheel nuts, and take it for a test drive. That's pretty much it. Any questions, guys, stick it in the comments. Hope this helps.